guys, what's up? Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another video. So today in this video we'll be learning all about Vernier calipers. So this is a very interesting topic. In this topic we'll be talking about how to take the readings of Vernier calipers. What are the how does a Vernier caliper look? What are its features? We're going to be talking all of these things. We'll be going to be covering all of these things. So the Vernier calipers are very clear to you, and you can solve all kinds of questions. You can understand what a Vernier caliper is. So first we're going to look at this diagram. So first we need to know what a Vernier caliper looks like. So this is the general shape of a Vernier caliper. So first when we try to label and when we try to understand Vernier calipers, first you need to know that there are two scales in a Vernier caliper. There are two scales in a there are two scales in a Vernier caliper. One is called the main scale, which I'm labeling as MS, and then there's another scale called the Vernier scale, which I'm labeling as VS. The Vernier scale slides around the main scale. Now, as we now know that this is called the main scale, this is called the Vernier scale. Okay. Now, what are these? These are called jaws. So there are four jaws and two pairs of jaws. So two of them are here and two of them are here. So these jaws are called extra. One pair of jaws are called external jaws and one pair of jaws are called internal jaws. So what are the functions of internal and external jaws? So the external jaws measure external diameter. So in order to measure the external diameter, we use these external jaws, and in order to measure the internal diameter, we use internal jaws. As we'll be moving forward, I will also give examples as well to explain it further. Okay. Then this is called the tail, or the depth measuring blade. Okay. So what this does is to measure depth. Okay. There are so in short, the Vernier caliper is used to measure external diameters external diameters with the help of what? External jaws, which are located right over here. So external diameters are used with external jaws. Then internal diameters, which are you which is measured with the help of internal jaws. Okay. And then depth, which is measured by this depth measuring blade. Then there are two scales. So now we're going to look at further examples. So let's go. So as we mentioned, I have labeled here as well. These are the internal jaws, these are the external jaws. This is the main scale, this is the Vernier scale, which is much more clearer in this picture. So now, how do the external jaws work? Like over here in this picture, I've inserted a ball over here. As you can see, this is a ball right over here, right? So when I put this ball in the external jaws, so what this will do is that I'm sorry. So what this will do is that the external jaws, which I'll write again. So these external jaws will open according to the diameter of the ball, right? So the diameter of the ball, right, like over here, it's this much. So the jaws will open, and this Vernier scale will slide along the main scale, and then we'll take the reading. I'll be further explaining this. Don't worry. And then the internal jaws, as I told you, are used to measure the internal diameter. So right over here, I've drawn two jaws. These are two jaws, and then I've put an object over here, and this is how we'll be measuring the internal diameter. And then for depth, as I told you, for depth, we can also take this example like this. There's a box type structure. So in order to measure the depth, we use this. So I've written them over here as well. Internal jaws, they measure internal diameter. External jaws, they measure external diameter. Tail measures the depth. Let's look at it again. That what is the diameter? If you guys don't know, that the diameter uh, is is the length from one end of the circle to the other. So this diameter, so in order to measure this diameter, right, like the ball over here in the external jaws. So in order to measure this diameter, the 1 year caliper can be used. In order to measure this diameter, the 1 year caliper can be used, and in order to measure the depth, the 1 year caliper can be used. So now we know that the 1 year caliper has now the 1 year caliper now we know, ignore the signs, and now we know that the 1 year caliper has internal jaws, external jaws, depth measuring tool, a main scale, and a 1 year scale. Okay, and the external jaws are used extra for measuring external diameter. The internal jaw is used for measuring internal diameter. So now let's move on how to take the readings from a 1 year caliper. So now I've wrote over here concisely that a 1 year caliper is a measuring device which is used to measure internal diameter, external diameter, length, and depth. The same thing that I've told you. A caliper has two scales: main scale and then 1 year scale. The least count of a 1 year caliper is 0.01 centimeter and 0.1 millimeter. So you might be wondering, what is the least count, right? So what is the least count? I've already answered that question. The least count, what is the least count is the lowest value which the caliper can measure, which means that it can measure up to two decimal places of reading: 0.01 centimeter and 0.1 millimeter. So the least value which it can measure is up to two decimal places. Like it can measure 3.47 centimeter, but it cannot measure 3.478 centimeter, because this is three decimal places. So the least count is the lowest value which the caliper can measure. The maximum length the caliper can measure is 15 centimeter, right? So the maximum length the caliper can measure is 15 centimeter. Whenever and remember, whenever the examiner tells you that you need to measure the internal diameter, make sure to straight away select the 1 year caliper. Do you know why? Because almost no other tool is as accurate as the 1 year caliper in measuring the internal diameter. So whenever the examiner or you get an MCQ or a question that if you need a tool to measure internal diameter, so which tool will you use? So for internal diameter, you'll always use the 1 year caliper, right? Okay, now what is the process of taking reading from a 1 year caliper? Now that we know the basics about the now that we know the basics about the two scales, we know the basics about the two scales, we know about the jaws, and we know about the tail. Now we can actually understand better on how to take the readings from a 1 year caliper. So the step one of taking the reading is to first take the reading of the main scale which is behind the zero of the 1 year scale. So take that. Right now I'm just gonna read these out to you, and then I will explain them as well by doing an example. So first step is take that reading of the main scale which is behind the zero of the 1 year scale. Step two is now take that 1 year scale which coincides with the main scale and 1 year scale. After that, multiply it with the least count: 0.01 centimeter and 0.1 millimeter, whatever the 1 year caliber is, and then add both the readings to get the 1 year scale reading. Now I'll show you this example, right? Wait, let me raise this. Right, let's do this again. So first of all, you need to understand that this is the main scale. This is the main scale which was located over here. If I can show you the image again. So this is the main scale, right? This is the main scale, and then this over here, which is shown over here, is the 1 year scale, right? So this is the 1 year scale. Now what you're gonna do is the step one says take that reading of main scale which is behind the zero of 1 year scale. So take that reading of main scale which is behind the zero. So this is the zero of the 1 year scale, as you can see. So take that reading which is behind the zero of the 1 year scale on the main scale. So what is this reading? 5. So 6, 7, 8, and so the reading before the zero of the 1 year scale on the main scale is 5. So we're gonna write 5 over here. Okay, 5 centimeters. So all of this is in centimeters, remember. Okay. Now what is steps 2? Now take that 1 year scale value which coincides with the main scale and 1 year scale. After that multiply it with the least count. So which value coincides with both the scales? So this, as you can see, is directly coinciding. Both this value is coinciding in both the main scale and the 1 year scale, right? As you can see, so this value is 2. Now we have to multiply it with the, as you can see, multiply it with the least count, which is 0.01 centimeter. If it was in millimeter, we would have multiplied it with 0.01 meters, 0.01 millimeters, right? But as it is in centimeters, so we'll multiply it with 0.01 centimeters, right? So let's multiply this value with 0.01 centimeters, right? So 2 into 0.01, which will give you 0.02. Now what is step 3? We have to add both the values, right? So we have to add 5 plus 0.02 to get 5.02. So this is your reading. Now let's do another example so the concept can get even clearer, and this example will be better as there is a whole 1 year caliper drawn here, right? So let me remove this. Now as we know, this over here, what the good thing is, centimeter is also labeled, right? So what is this? This is the main scale. This is the main scale. Now, and what is this? This is the 1 year scale as labeled here. Okay, and this is the main scale as labeled here. Okay, so now the step for taking the reading is step 1. Take that reading, of the 1 year, take that reading of the main scale that is behind the zero of the 1 year scale. So behind the zero of the 1 year scale is this reading on the main scale, which is 1.1 centimeter. So we're gonna write it as main scale reading, this is short form, equal to 1.1 centimeter. Now take that value which directly coincides with the main scale and 1 year scale. So which value is that? It is 6, right? As you can see, it is directly coinciding with the main scale and the 1 year scale. So we're gonna write 1 year scale reading equal to 6, and then we're gonna multiply it with the least count, which is 0.01 centimeters. So it will give us 0.0 6 centimeter. Then we're gonna add main scale reading plus 1 year scale reading to get the total reading, which will be called our 1 year caliper reading. So our main scale is 1.1 plus 0.06. That will give us 1.16 centimeter. So this is the reading for the so this is the reading for this 1 year caliper at this stage. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. uh, I hope you enjoyed this. You can rewind this, you can watch this again, and I hope you like this video. We'll be doing more examples, and in the next video we'll also be talking about micrometer screw gauge. So stay tuned, stay connected, take care. Allah Hafiz.